Jack, are you frozen? Sam, are you there? Yeah, Jack, are you frozen? Sam, are you there? Yeah, Jack, are you frozen? Sam, are you there? What are we even doing here?
Yo, Wi-Fi flagging, but they holding it down. How about them J-era Maz ballers running Beantown? They say these guys are ridiculous, yet probably true. Like the 23 Celtics, they got a deep crew. Pregame Papa trying to make some bank. Professor Pete repping Latvia, KP to thank. RJ's on the email, taking fools to college. Joey, Matt, Timo, Robin, let's acknowledge. What are we even doing here? We're taking the crown. Checking Sam, talking Celtics and breaking it down. Competition can't keep up, they're starting to frown. What are we even doing here? In the garden, fighting for a quiet spot. Jack's taking notes while the crowd gets hot. Irate, insightful, not a diplomat. Sam's got a long list and it's just for rats. Rat list your Wi-Fi, rat list your dog. Rat list Bronny, rat list LeBron. Rat list the traffic, rat list the song. Rat list that's getting too long. What are we even doing here? We're taking the crown. Checking Sam, talking Celtics and breaking it down. Competition can't keep up, they're starting to frown. What are we even doing here? Might think they're chill, but don't get it twisted. They're not just hustling, they're highly gifted. Still new to the scene and making their mark. It's a humble beginning, it's a hero's arc. Sam's keeping it real with the Starkey vibe, but he's all in with Jack when it's time to ride. Your ass hat in the chat, Jack says don't come back. He's got zero patience for nonsense attacks. What are we even doing here? We're taking the crown. Checking Sam, talking Celtics and breaking it down. Competition can't keep up, they're starting to frown. What are we even doing here? What are we even doing here? We're taking the crown. Jack and Sam talking Celtics and breaking it down. Competition can't keep up, they're starting to frown. What are we even doing here?
We made it! Hello! Opening night. How about them Celtics pregame is back. Celtics versus 76ers. And after a long summer, we are all back. Jack and I are here with Bruce. Bruce, thank you very much for joining us. But, exciting game tonight. We'll let you start it off. Just overall thoughts, overall excitement of being back after just a summer of a lot of things, but a lot of nothing in terms of basketball. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. It's a pleasure to be on the show. I'm very excited to talk some basketball and Celtics basketball, especially with you guys today. Obviously, luckily to be at the Garden today and get to see that first action. But obviously, after, a lot of movement this offseason, a lot of question marks with the Boston Celtics, we finally get to see it put on display here. Open court at home court tonight versus the 76ers. I'm very excited to see what we get to see out of Jaylen Brown tonight, taking that number one option as he is available to play. I did see that before the Celtics game. And yeah, excited to see as well how the kind of new guys as well kind of fit in for the Celtics squad. Guys like Josh Minott, Chris Boucher, Luka Garza, etc. I think they're going to try to make their imprints, especially in their home opener. And I think that's something to be excited for for all of us.
This is the most excited I've been for a Celtics season in a while. And that seems sort of backwards because, they've been really good, and obviously that's the end goal. You always want to win a title. But in terms of, I wrote about it this morning, it's the thrill of the unknown. Think about the times watching those Isaiah Thomas Celtics teams, not knowing how good the team would be, and then seeing, oh, wait, this is a really good team. I'm not saying this team has a chance to go to the ECF. I'm not saying they don't. They could. I think there's a chance this team could do anything. And I think they believe that. I think Joe Mazzulla believes that. I think we're going to learn a lot over the first month or so of the season. And I'm very, very, very excited because I do think this team has the talent and the play style and the coaching to be a lot better than a lot of people expect. And I've been saying that for a long time. But now we finally get to see if I'm right.
We're only happy when it rains. We love it when the teams are meant to be shit. But no, this team really isn't meant to be shit. Joe Mazzulla before the game Gary Washburn asked him, was like, what do you expect from this team? And he was like, they're going to play hard. A lot of coach speak stuff, but it really speaks to the general unknown, the excitement, and the lack of expectations and the weight that goes away with those things. It's going to be really exciting.
I'm going to toot my own horn early here. I got yelled at a lot for saying this should be the starting lineup. I got yelled at a lot. And guess what? Opening night, here we go.
Get ready to see how right you can be when we do the prize picks. That's when we're going to find out who's right, who's wrong. It's going to be the big time. We're going to see if we can start 1-0 this year. Took us a long time to win Prize Picks last year, but we'll get to that later in the show. Start at 5, a little bit different. Big thank you to Joey Spatulas. This was not.
Thanks, Joey.
Turn it into 10K. I wish.
Sixers 5. Didn't expect Barlow, but all right. There we go. Cool. Good for Philly. There we go. I'm amped.
It's very exciting, man. I'm so happy they're back. We won't have a full pod tomorrow morning, so I guess we can talk about some of this stuff now. Kristaps Porzingis, they finally figured out what he was dealing with during the playoffs there. Oh man, I brought this up and I don't have the thing in front of me. It is some sort of
POTS.
Yes, that's right.
POTS.
It's like some sort of like heart. Okay.
It's like all the blood. I'm pretty sure. I was talking to PJ about this, OG stream viewer, because I think he had some insight. But I read the article from Fred Katz. It's like all the blood goes to his legs and when he's standing, so he just gets so exhausted very quickly. His heart rate goes to like 130. When he's like lying down, it's fine because the blood can sort of even out through the body. But when he's apparently it's like only 10 to 15% or 25% or whatever the number is of people with POTS are like working full time without like disability and stuff. Like it is a extremely debilitating issue. And like from everything I've seen, it was like a miracle that he was even on the court. So it makes a lot of sense when you consider how exhausted he clearly was.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's kind of stunk that it happened when it did for Kristaps Porzingis, and I know a lot of people talk about this as well, but if it happened at really like any other point during the season, I feel like the Celtics, as we've seen in the past, would have kind of given him that rest, that couple of weeks or months, whatever it took to get him back. But since the fact it happened in the playoffs, and they especially needed him so much with Jason Tatum going down in those last couple games as well, it seemed like they just had to seemingly play him regardless of the fact. And like you mentioned, Jack, it's kind of crazy to see now after all of this, the fact that he was able to be on the court for the Boston Celtics was kind of crazy and miraculous in my opinion.
It is funny how at the time everybody, let's see, is this the correct one? Nope, that's not the right one. Disregard. This is the right one. Everybody was upset and mad. I'm not going to leave it there forever so it doesn't cover your face, Bruce. Everyone was like pissed. They were like, this guy, like, and granted, like, you could still be pissed and be like, I wish they would just sit him, which is the stance that Jack had at the time. But there were people legitimately mad at Kristaps because he wasn't playing well or because he had been sick again. And that part was crazy. Like, Timo said he apologizes. And, like, I honestly don't feel like Timo really was that aggressively mean to Kristaps. But there were people on Twitter that were super pissed when it was all happening. And to be honest with you, I can't believe that they lost that series still. Like, once a week I think about him. I can't believe that happened. Today is a great way for them to start the season on the right foot, though. I've asked multiple people this. I don't think I've asked you this yet, Jack. What do you think? You think they win today? I don't know what to think. I think they win. Like, personally, me, if I had to guess, I think they're going to win this game. It feels like a spot where they're home. A lot of these guys have something to prove. But, yeah. What do you think?
I think they win. I mean, anything can happen. I don't think they're going to be favored in a lot of games this season. But the way they
favored tonight,
the way
4.5
played in the preseason. Celtics are favorites? Oh, wow. That actually really surprises me. Listen, I think the Celtics are going to have the benefit of what has plagued them for the past 2 years, which is past 2 years, you see them go into Washington, you see them go into Charlotte, you'll see them go into even like Detroit, and they're like, we'll just win this game. I think you'll see a lot of teams be like, oh, it's the Celtics without Tatum. We'll just win this game. I think they're going to be a absolute pain in the ass this year. Yes, Jalen is playing, and I think they pull it out. I think they get a win here. It's going to be a huge Nemi test off the rip, though.
I'd like to say, yeah, I kind of agree with Jack. I feel like they, like you mentioned, they have all something to prove here, especially the guys competing for those roster spots and trying to maintain their ability on the floor. Also, we got a guy in Anthony Simons as well that I think is going to have a lot to prove on the offensive side of the floor tonight. From looking at their starting lineup, from their bench, I don't necessarily know if they have any kind of guards that can really disrupt him into that defensive mode where he could be able to be a little bit of a microwave for the Celtics tonight. And he also showed some nice sides of the side on the defensive end, specifically, excuse me, when I went to the Raptors game for the preseason. I really liked what he was able to do. So I'm hoping to see a big game from Simons and hopefully for the Celtics to get on the right foot. I know Jack reported that the Joel Embiid is on a minute restriction tonight as well. So hopefully that'll be a little bit easier for the Celtics within their front court because, like you mentioned, it's going to be a big test for those bigs, specifically Namish Keita and Chris Boucher.
Yeah. Also, like another big part of this today, Phil's asking who's out for Philly. No Paul George, and who else? I know you mentioned Trent Watford.
And no
McCain.
No McCain.
So, like, substantial rotation pieces, yes, but not like make or break guys. It's not like Maxi's out and Embiid's still there. This summer, we all talked about like Embiid, like, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? As soon as the schedule came out, it was Celtics opening night, and he looked at the Celtics depth chart. He was going to be here no matter what. He was going to be healthy. He was going to make sure he was healthy enough to play. It's the inverse of him going to Denver to play against Jokic. I'm going to go get my 35 points and 15 rebounds with Nemias Keita, Luka Garza, and whoever else they decide to throw at me guarding me. And I'm going to start my season off really strong. That is like the biggest concern, right? Like, truthfully, I don't know who the most confident person I have, like, stopping Embiid. Nemi might have the strength to do it, but he doesn't have the discipline to do it. And people in this building tonight are going to be fucking pissed because Embiid is going to be shooting a lot of free throws.
I mean, listen, I think, like I said, big test for Nemi, but even more importantly, he's not going to be the only guy guarding Embiid. Embiid isn't on a minutes restriction like you just said, Bruce. I think you're going to have Nemi as the primary guy, but I wrote a story on it. I did a whole video on it. This is not the same Celtics defense. This is not, we're going to leave everybody on an island. It's not going to be Horford. We're going to leave you on an island. As soon as, I'd place this bet, as soon as Joel Embiid touches the ball in the paint, they're going to double. They're going to throw help. They're going to bother him. It's going to be Jalen from the corner, Derek from the corner. They're going to help off whoever is guarding Dominic Barlow is going to help in the paint. For sure. 100%. And then someone's going to rotate behind to cover him. And someone's going to rotate behind to cover him. And it's going to be free-flowing. Nemi's going to have plenty to help.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like the article that you wrote, and I saw your video that you posted as well to Twitter. And when I went to that Raptors game, it was very obvious. You used a lot of clips from that game as well of how they were able to swarm those guys on the defensive end and really plugging and playing in on those corners and just playing that swarm basketball as you guys have kind of mentioned as like their defensive motto. And I really like that for this team in this opportunity. I feel like you mentioned, obviously, they're going to double Joel Embiid a lot. And I feel like that's why I was a little bit confused on why Chris Boucher didn't get into the starting lineup. I thought him and Nemi would have been utilized for that to kind of maybe insulate that a little bit more.
Earlier today.
Seeing Hauser in that starting lineup is a little different, but you guys have covered multiple times that Joe said that not to stick to any of these starting lineups or anything like that. So it's all going to be depending on matchup, and maybe because of the fact that they want to kind of get this comfortability with all those guys that they do trust, having Hauser, Brown, Pritchard, Derek White all be main, and Nemi all being on this team for a couple seasons already. I think it does make a little bit of sense for Joe to go with the guys he does trust.
Joe's big trust guy, maybe the biggest trust guy, but this is going to be a huge season for earning his trust. Like, him just kind of not really knowing what to say about like what to expect from this group is kind of on the nose for how I think everybody feels. Like, we just kind of don't know yet. That's been the whole theme of the summer, except for Jaylen Brown being like, we're gonna have to figure it out. We're gonna have growing pains. Like, every single time he gets a microphone, he's like, I wouldn't get too excited. Like, he's trying to really pump the brakes on it. But today is a great first test. Like, I'm super excited to see them play Philly. Philly, in my opinion, is going to be like a competitive team this year, health barring, which health is the biggest if that it could possibly be with this team. But I really like their chances, like, more than ever in the Eastern Conference just because of how weak it is. I'm curious to see how Boston stacks up against a pretty legitimate team, at least today. Like, everybody, for the most part, is healthy.
I don't know how everything we've watched in the preseason and everything we've heard about in training camp can lead to this statement. I don't know how that can possibly be what the takeaway is. Like, all I've written about, all people have talked about, all Joe has talked about is we have a different roster. We're going to play a different brand of basketball. And it's looked pretty good. And obviously you can't judge it until you see it in the regular season. You see it in the real games that matter. Everything that has come out is we are going to play a different brand of basketball because that's what the personnel allows. That sounds like a pretty fucking good coach to me, because a lot of these coaches would just stuff their brand of basketball onto the roster they have, and that's why a lot of coaches get fired, because they don't have the roster that works for them. They try to force their brand of basketball on it. It doesn't work. Joe Mazzulla is not doing that. Joe Mazzulla is going to play a fast-paced offense. He's going to set a lot of screens. They're going to run in transition a lot more. They're not going to slow it down. And defense, the last 2 years, all they've done is we're not going to foul, we're not going to foul, we're not going to foul. This year, I don't think they care. I think they'll foul 20 times a game if it means they get 30 turnovers, right? Like, we're just going to see such a different style. And I think Joe Mazzulla is going to prove a lot of people. Make a lot of
this is the big prove it year for him. Like, that's the exciting part about Joe, too. Like, he probably has a chip on his shoulder with all of this because he's had a great team since he took over as interim and then eventually became the full-time head coach. And everyone's just kind of pointed at that when they've looked at the Celtics winning percentage under Joe. Like, Joe, of any coach in the NBA all time that has coached more than 3 games, he has the highest winning percentage ever. So, yeah, he's had a great roster, but he's had to manage that roster. He's had to make sure everyone's happy. He's had to utilize everyone and get the most out of them. Like, he's not just sitting there twiddling his thumbs. It's not like me standing over there putting the sweatsuit on and then holding the clipboard. It's a little different.
Yeah, when I heard you say that stat the other day, it was in the video that you talked about with Joe Mazzulla getting pried away from the New York Knicks. It doesn't shock me that was a stat, but it's not something that like I ever really paid attention to or like really like clicked in my brain. But just goes to show you once again, like you stated, Sam, in that video, that regardless of Joe Mazzulla being handed the talented players, he's been able to work with that talent and be able to use it to his best advantage. And I only can see that for the Boston Celtics this year. The only reason I feel like I'm not as low as the Celtics as maybe some other people are is due to the fact of Joe Mazzulla being the head coach. I don't see him having these guys give up, having these guys, tank for games or not fight for it in these moments. He's going to want them to play relentless, either up 30 or down 20. And that's always been the Joe Mazzulla mentality. And I don't see that really shifting, even if the talent is a little bit lackluster comparative to where they've had in the past. I do think that they'll still be able to kind of fight through those ways with the talent of Joe Mazzulla and having him be that engine, which could make some of these players maybe stick a little bit better in Boston in the long run as well.
Evan, we'll see. We'll get to learn that this season. Like, I don't think you can blame Joe Mazzulla for having good rosters. That's like saying, Tatum sucks at basketball because he's had a good team. That's not really how it works, right? Like what happened to the Brooklyn Nets when they had KD, James Harden, and Kyrie? They didn't have Steve Nash. That was a great roster, but it didn't work. Maybe the coaching was a problem there. There's plenty of great teams that don't, work. And I'm not saying Joe Mazzulla is the best coach in the NBA, right? I believe in him as a head coach. I think he's a good head coach. Okay, man. I have nothing else. That's it. That's all I got, bro.
I mean, you're allowed to feel that way. Can you sit there and be like, I really think they should have won the title 3 years in a row? Yeah, they were right there. They could have got past Miami in 2023. Denver's a great team. You don't know what happens. They probably should have beat New York last year. Shouldn't have blown the 2 games at home. Who knows if Tatum gets hurt, whatever. I don't know if they could have beat OKC. OKC beat them twice in the regular season. They didn't beat them. Denver beat them twice in the regular season the year they won the title. If they saw Denver in the finals in 2024, there's a chance they don't win. And maybe you feel like that's Joe's fault, which, sure, use it to build your point. You're allowed to have your own opinion, but I think this year is going to tell you a lot about him, and you may not be able to feel this way or say the same thing if they do a good job, if they overachieve, if they make the playoffs or whatever. I think that could really help shape people's opinion of him for the better. And I feel like the same thing goes for Jalen, who Jalen somehow gets no respect. He has Finals MVP. He's been here for 10 years now. They just put him up on the big screen of his statistics and stuff. This is going to be a huge I won't say legacy defining, but can certainly add to his legacy type season if he's able to will this team to more than people are expecting.
Also, Papa Tom Parlay. Shout out my dad. Pritchard 15, Derek 20, JV 25, Celtics first half full-time win. We'll see this year. I like it.
I'm excited to see what Jaylen Brown can do this season as the number one option, like you were alluding to, Sam. I think it's going to be a good testament, not for people in the Boston Celtics sphere to see what type of player he is, because I feel like social media can kind of get glazed over. There's a lot of trolls and stuff like that over there, but I feel like maybe just because as Celtics fans, and since you guys cover him so much, you guys obviously see the ins and outs on the court, but like he is so talented as a player and as a slasher and a creator for this offense. And I think the Celtics may be playing a little bit more to that tailored style for him with Jason Tatum out. It's going to not only show his ability to be a downhill threat for the Boston Celtics, but open up a lot of opportunities for those 3-point scorers on the wing and on the elbow, which is going to be very valuable for that Joe Mazzulla offense. And I'm very excited to see what he can do as that number one option, because I feel like, once again, a lot of people are just doubting and seemingly hate on Jaylen Brown for these last couple of years. And I don't know, maybe it's like that second star next to a very talented star that puts it in that kind of mode, because I feel like a lot of other players across the league kind of fall in that same category. Seemingly Pascal Siakam from the Pacers last year, I feel like gets disrespected seemingly a lot like Jaylen Brown. And I feel like both of those players, even though I do think Jaylen Brown's a better player, kind of falter with that. And I'm hoping that this year, with those players being out, they can kind of see that praise in the NBA light.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm very excited to see Jalen. I think Derek's gonna have a great year. Peyton, Simons, it's gonna be fun. Let's do prize picks here. I'll pull it up. 7:30 something. There's about 13 minutes left on the clock before national anthem and starting lineup. So 18 minutes till we go. So 7:37 ish, roughly. We're not all brothers, Justin. None of us are brothers.
I feel like you ask that all the time. It's one of my favorite running jokes. Justin asks if Jack and I are brothers, like every time he comes to the pregame. We're not brothers. We have different last names.
Okay. Can I sort by game? Oh, I can sort by game now? This is awesome.
You can not only sort by game, but you can also stack players. You can use promo code CLNS.
Yes, sir. To get $5 or to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Okay, what are we thinking? Anything jump to mind here? We have all these categories.
Do they have Nimi fouls? I think they do. Somebody was talking to me about this yesterday. That's why I came right in.
I can't do 3.
Yes.
I can't do 3.
You can't do 3.5?
No.
Guarding Embiid, you don't think he's going to get 3.5 fouls?
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. We'll do over.
I feel, what's Derek White's threes? I feel confident in him getting.
I'm worried he won't play enough. Is my issue.
Oh, okay.
I think they're gonna run the pigs in and out. Like, I don't know if we'll be in the game. We'll go with 3.5 though. Well, that's fine. We'll rock. Derek White's at 2.5 with the Green Goblin, 3.5 Green, 5.5 Devil. I like 2.5 with the Green. I don't hate it.
I like that. That sounds confident.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the type of one
We
you
need
can
at least
have in the
two
first
teams.
3 minutes of the game.
Yeah. So we need at least one Sixers player too. I like this. I like this Pritchard and Maxey combined threes.
It's not a bad one. I feel inclined to be like Embiid free throws.
I like that.
Okay.
Embiid free throws is
Embiid's
cool
on a
too.
minutes restricted.
I
Embiid's
forgot
on a
that the
minutes
prize
restriction,
picks
so we have to
absolute
remember
noobs.
that.
We have
6.5.
restrictions with what?
Embiid's on a
That's
minutes
fine.
restriction.
Okay.
So you still like 6.5 or not?
I think I do. I think
Okay.
essentially that lines up with the Nimi fouls. It's like those might like just be a double.
Nemi's just playing hack and Embiid tonight.
Any dunks? Jaylen Brown dunk. Thoughts?
I feel confident on a Jaylen Brown dunk.
Yeah, I love the dunks. I love that it's like a one and
Let's do
done.
it.
You can wait for it all game. You can not get it the entire game and get it at the end, and it'll win you your prize picks lineup. I think that's a good slate. That's
I like
a good
this.
start.
First lineup of the season.
Let's hope I bring some good luck and we can
Is-
get a nice dub.
We'll have to do a tracker. Pre-game show, prize picks, winners. So we got Nemish Cato, Moore, 3.5 personal fouls, Derek more than 2.5 threes, Embiid more than 6.5 free throws, and Jalen more than half a dunk. So just to dunk the ball once. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm a big fan.
Is there a lot of Sixers fans in Boston at the game right now, or not?
Does not look
It's pretty
like
green.
A lot of green.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're always going to have some,
Both
but it
teams are
looks
on
like
the
a
floor.
very green from what I see.
That's good at least. Because I know with it being kind of close, at least there would be more of a chance of at least like them or New York traveling.
New York in the playoffs traveled. Even in the first couple games, there was too many of them. Way too many.
Yeah, you think the Rockets trade for Simons now? I don't know what the package would be, but
I mean, in the summer, once we found out that Fred VanVleet was hurt, that was something that kind of like popped into everyone's head. Is like, would they go after him? Maybe this is the best way to maximize the value. I keep seeing in the fan site at Check Daily, like all these national podcasts keep speculating that it would be White, like Derek White's going to be the guy that a team like Houston would want. But I don't really think the Celtics want
this
to get him up.
still?
Yeah. Like after Van Vliet went down, like that was the speculation I've been seeing from like
Yeah,
the
no way.
Nationals.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people on Twitter talking about Derek White, mainly the Houston people trying to get stuff. I don't think it'd be possible. I think Brad would ask too much for a haul. One player that I think could be interesting, maybe going to Houston. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. They do have a lot of guard depth now because of their star being a potential injury candidate in LaMelo Ball. But I think Colin Sexton could be a valuable asset for the Rockets if they could get him. I think he could be a combo offensive scorer. It all depends, though, because like I stated, they did filter in that depth with him and Trey Mann. But if Trey Mann were to rise and LaMelo were to stay healthy and Con were to be able to be a valuable asset too, I think maybe Sexton could be a flippable asset for them where Houston maybe could get him and he could be a solid scorer for them on the offensive end.
I like Sexton. I think Sexton's a better player than people give him credit. Certainly better than the trade that went down. Looking at unfortunately, the only Rockets trades that work are like Van Vliet coming back to Boston. So they would have to like incentivize them with Van Vliet, like Jay Sean Tatum, a minimum contract and like a pick of some sort, which they have some picks, so they could possibly do it. But I don't know how interested the Celtics will be if they're actually competitive by the deadline, because like they would just essentially be losing a rotation piece for nothing.
Do you think they would want one of the Suns picks? I know Houston has some of those.
That would have to be the selling point. Like you would have to
Europe Simons.
for Simons, no. For Derek White, maybe. That would have to be the thing. But like, if you're Boston, why? I think it's you that started saying this in the summer, and it's so right, Jack. It's just like, why would you trade Derek White for something that you hope turns into Derek White? Like, you already have him. Like, why? I don't really know. Unless it's like this year's Suns pick and you can like guarantee it's going to be bad. But even then, you can't even guarantee that some of these teams' picks will be bad. Phoenix is a different case because they're kind of bad and they're in the West. But I remember when the Celtics had the Kings pick in 2019, we all thought Sacramento would be terrible. And then they ended up it was like Romeo Langford. They picked 13. It was
Memphis was good for
brutal
that
beat.
1 year too. It was like 2 years in a row where they just got hosed.
It was just so rude. If you're gonna suck, be consistent.
Exactly. Yes, technically it is a technical foul, but only if the refs call it, I guess. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, man?
I mean, for their first League Pass night of games, I'm hoping we get some great stuff around the NBA. Obviously, I know the Celtics are going to be doing some good stuff too, but ultimately, I think we're going to have a great kickoff for the first 2 days of the season with some great contests back and forth, and hopefully the Celtics can do well. My question to you guys is, who are you guys expecting to make like a big imprint for the Celtics in tonight's game that could be like a wild card candidate?
It could be like one
For you?
if they're No problem. My bad. If somebody is like, if they're going to win this game, it's going to be one of the bigs, right? Like, there's a good chance that one of the bigs makes an impact just by playing good defense. They don't even have to get a lot of buckets. But also, I feel like it's going to be Chris Boucher, not in that same regard. It's just when he comes in the game, he plays with such a chaos. It's the type of thing where they could be playing poorly, and he comes in, and the energy just kind of uplifts the team. And I think he could be a crowd favorite at the very least.
Ugo. I don't know how. I don't know what he's going to do. I think Ugo's going to be good. I think Ugo's going to have a really good debut game.
No, that's my pick too with Ugo. I kind of similar when I went to the Raptors game, bringing it back. When he took those 2 threes that he made, I just remember sitting there and like feeling confident that they could go in, but not like completely confident. But then once I saw him drain both of those, like, all right, if he can generate as a catch and shoot scorer on the wing for this team with his ability to cut to the basket and being that hustle defender, I'm really excited to see what he can be for this team, especially because I think Joe Mazzulla is going to bring out the best in his competitiveness for this squad. I think they kind of mesh really well on that end. And I think he fits like the mold of a Boston Celtic, which you guys really know is someone that like gives it all on the hardwood floor and is someone that's going to be relentless for this team if he can mold into that piece.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I think we can wrap it up there. Game time.
You want to wrap it there,
3:40
Jack,
up
before
the
they
clock.
start shooting off the fire in here and everything? Yeah.
I'm down. All righty. Appreciate y'all. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe. See you guys next time.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your